Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet, and welcome back to Redneck Radio, the live stream where today you get an extra healthy side helping of since I woke up this morning, for some reason I've had a craving for a BLT. That sounds good. A nice bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
Oh, now I know what I'm going to be eating for lunch. And hello, everybody.
Yeah, with me today is Functional. He's been on a couple times, and you all know him from chat. Say hi, Functional.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. And
your resident snow Mexican.
I love that, snow Mexican.
People do love the name, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, at least we're not talking about building a wall on the north border.
Yeah.
That one would probably be more to keep people in than out.
Well, I mean, we have actually been having some problems up here with people landing in the States as you know, on a visitation, and then moving into Canada and taking up residence here. It's been actually a bit of a problem for us.
Yeah, and you know, I don't mean necessarily people moving there, but they do cross the border a lot. I know in some states they'll go across to buy cigarettes. They'll go, you know, you got marijuana up in there, and not all states do.
Yeah. No, I remember in the 80s we'd go down just across the border to Michigan and just buy tons of alcohol for dirt cheap.
Oh yeah,
and just literally walk over the border, buy alcohol, come back.
Yeah. Closest I've ever been, I was in Detroit one weekend for training when I worked at a car dealership. And of course, Detroit, the only thing that separates it and Canada is a bridge. So
yep. Detroit, Buffalo, just a bridge.
Yeah. Of course, I was not impressed with Detroit at all.
Thanks, Mama Many.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a little lone Mandalorian in the world.
That city literally does. If you've seen the documentaries and stuff, it ain't lying. It looks like a war zone.
Yeah, it really does.
And I was on a good side of town in a fancy hotel, and it still looked like a war zone. Of course, I was not there at a good time. Many years ago, you may remember the Pacer Detroit Rumble.
Yes.
Where half the Pacer crew, the basketball team, the Pacers, the Indianapolis Pacers, went up in the crowd and they were fighting and stuff. I was there just a couple of days after that. So here I'm from Indy and I'm in Detroit. So wasn't there at a good time for a Hoosier?
Yeah, and actually that's where I was born. My parents were visiting family. Luckily, the family that I have that still lives there, they're in a more shall we say, affluent neighborhood of the Detroit area.
Yeah, it still exists. Yeah,
but it's just not. It hasn't been the same for quite a while now, and it's a shame because it was on track to be a fairly decent city. You know, they had their crime problems and all of that, but they were taking steps to move past that. But with everything else that happened, the entire area just kind of crashed. It's a tragedy because anytime you see a Western city like that fall, it's not good.
I mean, even if you're on a good side of town, if such a thing exists in Detroit, it just looks so drab. It's just like there's just this air of depression over the whole city.
Yeah.
Just in the weekend I visited there, I felt it. It was just odd.
It's almost like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Kind of has that eerie feeling, sort of like you're in Silent Hill or something at that point.
And if any of y'all live in Detroit, I'm sorry, I'm not bashing your hometown.
Oh,
you
no.
know, I'm just saying it's not for me. Of course, I'm not a city guy. I do live in a city. I live in the suburbs. You know, I live far enough from downtown that in 10 minutes I can be in the next county. I can be out of town. You know, so
and being at least close to a city, you at least have, you know, hospitals and if you're younger, entertainment clubs, blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm the same way. I don't like living in the middle of a city. The suburbs, or give me the country any day.
If
Nice
I had my
farmland.
druthers, I'd live back in Kentucky in the middle of the hills. It's just not very convenient because you don't have anything near you, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love the country. Yeah, my mom always said I should have been a hermit anyway because I hate people. So, but yeah, I lived in the same neighborhood I grew up in. You know, I'm second generation here, and it's definitely not a good neighborhood. Although there are worse neighborhoods in Indianapolis. You know, I'm not afraid to walk around at nighttime here because I'm second generation. Nobody's gonna mess with me.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say the same for the east side of Indianapolis. I'm not even going to walk through there in the daylight.
Oh man, it's that bad, huh?
Oh, it's that bad. I doubt there's very many days go by without them being on the news for some murder or something over there or other. It's bad. East Indy is not a good place. But anyway, yeah. So I know that by now you've seen the title, and I'm just so over the impeachment stuff. And since I'm so over it, I'm not going to talk about it much, but I will say why I'm so over it. It's just politics as usual. It quickly became one side, but Orange Man bad. The other side, but you're lying. And the other side, but Orange Man bad. And the other one saying, I'm lying. And it's just a back and forth and the same crap being said with the different words and from different mouths. And it just needs to stop.
Yeah, whatever comes of it will come of it, and you know, I'm sure we'll talk about it then, but until then, I'm with you. I am just so over all the bickering and the back and forth and the nonsense of it all.
There's been nothing new since it started. Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Like, I know Monkey's been watching all the stuff, and you know, he says it himself. It's just boring.
Yeah. And Monkey loves politics, and if it's boring him, then you know it's boring. You know, and I like, oh my gosh, I'm just done with it. I'm done with seeing it on my Twitter. I'm done.
Yeah. Let's be done with it. Life's too short to worry about the minutia of all this stuff, and just like I said, if something comes from it, what comes from it? Okay, fine. That'll be some news. That'll be important stuff. But the in between, it's boring.
Yeah. Piccolo says, Pincalo, however you pronounce it, is so boring. I fall asleep driving listening to it. That's not good, dude. Not good. We don't need you to fall asleep while you're driving.
He needs to take some more roosters.
Bloodwings Bandsman says it's more boring than a sexy librarian who's a redhead. I don't know. I'm kind of partial to redheads. So
yeah. Especially when they got that demure librarian thing going on.
Yeah. Kind of have I mean, I didn't marry a redhead, and to my remembrance, I've never dated a redhead, but I've always just kind of had this, you know, partiality to redheads.
Yeah, I think it's because it's, you know, a rarer hair color, a rarer feature. It's naturally sort of, you know, attractive.
Yeah, I heard this morning, I was listening to the Bob and Tom show, which I always do when I'm out taking the grandkids to school. And I was listening, and they were talking about how in 2011 that the sperm donor banks were turning away redheads.
What?
Yeah, they didn't want their genetics. But now in 2019, they've totally flipped. They've become so rare, and they're afraid they're going to die out that they're now begging for redhead donations.
Oh, wow. Owen, are you sure it's not just women? Okay, bad joke. I don't mean any ill will towards women. It's just a joke. But my wife will admit, you know, she's a bit crazy. I'm a bit crazy. That's why we work so well together.
Yeah.
Different kinds of crazy.
I've always had a thing for Hope, man. My brain just went dead. I had her name right there, and then just as soon as I started to talk, it went dead. The country singer. Done Fancy. Done a cover of the.
I can see her in my head. I don't remember her name.
Please, somebody help me quick. Yeah, Reba McEntire.
Reba.
Thank you, J Kid.
Yep.
And how you doing? I haven't seen you for a while, bub.
And she's,
of course,
she's
they both J Kid and Mama Minnie know that I consider Reba to be my second wife. She just doesn't know it yet.
It's like me and Jerry Ryan.
But yeah, always kind of had a thing. Never did date one though, that I recall.
Yeah, I can remember back when I was much, much younger and seeing her as a young woman, that twang she had, her attitude as a public figure, as an
I loved her.
Everything about her was just gorgeous. She's a gorgeous human being.
I love to hear her talk, and of course she's gotten older, but of course so have I. Gotten older, but she's aged very gracefully. She still looks very good, and to my eyesight, doesn't look like she's had much done to herself. So,
yeah, I mean, I just pulled up a picture of her in 2020. She's still a gorgeous, gorgeous woman.
Yeah,
she's aged quite gracefully.
But yeah, I do love to hear her talk. Don't have internet at the moment, so not going to be around long. Same old, bub.
And hi, J Kid. Nice to see you around.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. He's my literal son, and the only time I see him is in my live streams.
Well, he's still coming out to support Papa.
Yeah. But
or I guess in your case, Pa.
No, it's my kids usually either call me Dad or Pop.
Pop.
Yeah, which I call my dad Pop, so maybe they picked up on that. But she'll grab first time a man's admitted to loving to hear a woman talk. It's just her accent and the timbre of her voice. It's just melts me to the core. Yeah, but yeah. So how are things going with you lately, Functional? What have you been up to?
Fairly good. My show's got a little bit of traction, and
Cool.
I'm really enjoying, interacting with people and doing all that. One thing I wanted to talk to you about. Oh my God, the last episode of Redneck Trek was hilarious.
Thank you.
Which got me thinking, oh, hey, what's going on in the STO world? And today was their launch of their 10th anniversary. And so was playing that this morning, and it's so much fun. I love that game.
Oh yeah, I have a ball. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I even though my core audience for Redneck Trek is not that large, considering how many subscribers I have,
mm-hmm.
I'm still doing it, and I'll still continue to do it, even if that drops, because I enjoy myself so much. I love playing the game. I love doing the voiceovers and the comedy. I like the characters that I've developed. I just have a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, and it shows. I love it when you're playing the captain, like in character.
Yep.
It's really entertaining and funny.
Well, thank you.
It's like redneck in space. Like, come on, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's an idea. I mean, come on. They're going to be out there.
Of course, they have to be.
But I right now I'm thinking of. I don't know if I'm going to do a regular episode for next week. I'm thinking of doing a best of to celebrate 25 episodes and his promotion to captain. But that might take more than I got in 1 week. That's quite an undertaking to go through all 25 episodes and pull out the best bets.
Yeah,
that's
a lot of content to go through.
It's basically close to 25 hours of content there, folks. And yeah, it's a lot to go through. I mean, I pretty much know in my mind what I think are the best ones and what got the best reactions out of everybody when I premiered it. But
That's 25 episodes, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. The last one on Sunday was 25th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going on strong.
And I'm excited, though, for the next episode for y'all to see the ship, because his next ship is one that you all will be familiar with. And that's all I'm going to say.
Ooh.
Just going to give you a taste. But yeah, his next ship will be one that you are familiar with. So, and I've decided to keep the others around. There's the one thing about Star Trek Online that I don't like is when you get a new ship, you can't name it the same as your old ship.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to delete the ship instead of putting it in dry dock in order to keep the name. So I've deleted all the previous ships so that I could keep the name.
Blood, you can just rename the old ship and then rename the new ship the name you want it.
Yeah. Well, I renamed. I'm going to call it the Hold My Beer Mark IV. This is the fourth ship. So, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be familiar to you guys. I think you're gonna. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it, and that's all I'm going to say because I want it to be a surprise when it comes on. Kyler says, I haven't had a chance to watch your latest episode yet. Well, I haven't gave any spoilers because I had already mentioned before that he made promotion to captain, but that comes at the end of it. And I think that portion is still pretty good, even though you know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you noticed, but the music I used was a total ripoff of Leonard Skinner. In fact, the song, and it comes off the YouTube library, is called Skinny Leonard.
Oh man, and the way that the music syncs up at certain points gets you really like energized, and
I try real hard to do that. Sometimes it's pretty hard to do that, but I try to match the right music and the pauses and the type of music it is to what's going on the screen.
Yeah, I can tell you're putting a lot of care and craft into doing this because you love doing it so much.
Putting the music on is actually it's not the hardest part, but it's the longest part. It just takes so long because you got to listen through so much of it and then go back and pick the right song, which means I'm going through my entire music library over and over and over again for each scene.
Mm-hmm.
Just to listen to a clip of it to say, okay, is this the right one? Does this sound good with this? It's very time consuming putting the music in. I've gotten pretty good at the editing part. I'm getting better than when I started, for sure.
Do you mind me asking what you use to edit? Is it Vegas?
Yeah, Sony Vegas. I have a couple of years ago, one of my YouTube friends hooked me up with a not quite legal copy of Sony. But is what it is. And it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on this new rig that I'm using, it was such a joy to edit on this thing compared to my laptop.
It took hours to render.
Well, not only that, but it was just slow going through the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've ever used Vegas, of course, you've got a little screen that shows what you're doing right then. And I had to have it on the lowest graphic quality. So it looked like crap. And sometimes it was hard to tell really what was going on while I'm editing. On this one, I can put it on the highest quality. It runs smoothly without any hiccups. And what used to take 4 hours or more to render on my laptop took just under 2 hours.
Nice.
On this one. So yeah, it was it was a joy to work with. Now, when I went to upload, that was a different story. Oh my gosh. I don't know what was going on with YouTube on Sunday, but I went to upload, and 2 hours later, almost 3 hours later, it was still only at 54 or 52%.
I think YouTube might have contracted coronavirus.
And then it got to 54% and stayed there for an hour.
Oh, geez.
Because I'm watching it. I'm going back and forth, looking at Twitter, and I'm going back and I'm looking at it and watching it. Try not to do anything too heavy, like play a game or anything, to suck up the bandwidth or nothing, so that it maybe keeps going.
Yeah. But it kind of stalled.
Yeah. And then it eventually started moving again. It got up to 62% and it suddenly jumped back. Or no, 65%, and suddenly jumped back to 57.
Maybe it opened a time vortex and went back in time a few percentage.
Jake says YouTube is busy grieving Kobe. Give it a break.
Ooh.
Yeah, probably so. But yeah, it finally got updated. It was getting to the point I was starting to worry, is it going to get uploaded by the time it's supposed to premiere? But it did. And I started it like, let's see, I woke up at about 7:00 Sunday morning. And so I probably started the upload about 8:30 because I had rendered it overnight, while I slept. So I'm not just sitting there staring at it rendering. And when it's done rendering, I like to go back and watch the finished the finished product back.
Yeah,
to make sure there's no glitches or anything in it before I upload it. And so it was probably about 8:30 I started uploading it. It got done about 1:00, 1:30.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. But
Jen.
Hey, Jen. Yeah, been doing that, and of course, been catching up on some of my old games, giving them a try, see how they play on this new rig. And it's just so much difference. Even on games like Civilization 5, just runs so much better than it did on my laptop. And of course, there was a huge, very cheap sale on Sims 3, which in my opinion is the best Sims.
It was on sale for a couple bucks, wasn't it?
Yeah, you could get Sims 3 with 3 of the DLCs for like $9, and then all the DLCs were $4.99 each. And I've never seen anything cheaper than that. So I went ahead and bought it. And yeah, this first game I've bought in forever.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
But bought it with my Streamlabs money, and so I've been playing a little bit of that, and that runs so much smoother.
Have you tried Saints since you got the new rig?
Yeah, I have tried this.
That's running beautifully, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it's running so well that I almost can't drive the cars. Because I'd gotten good at driving it on the laptop. I could, drift around the corners and stuff like that, just be right on point.
Sort of anticipate some of the lag, yeah.
Yeah, but when I tried the first couple hours I tried it on this rig, I played it. I'm like, I don't remember the cars being this fast, and I'm all over the place. Devil Fruit Zero says, Civ 5, what Civs do you play? Currently just Civ 5, but I have played all of them, including Civ 6.
I think he means like, what civilizations do you actually play? Like, do you play Americans or?
Oh, I'm currently going through all of them.
I
have my favorites, of course, but I'm currently going through all of them. I'm down to Kamehameha, taking them in alphabetical order of the leaders. So, and it's been stuck at Kamehameha for a while because I quit playing for a long time because my laptop was screwball. But J-Kid and I have spent a lot of hours playing Civ 5 and a lot of good memories.
That's good.
I'll just tell you this. If you play Civilization with J-Kid, and if you're not playing on the same team, don't trust him. He's a snake in the grass. I'll just say that. He is a sneaky little snake in the grass.
Never play Monopoly with J-Kid either.
I remember one time we was playing. I don't remember what civ I was playing as. I think Japan. Yeah, it was a defense nuke. He knows exactly what story I'm about ready to tell. And I can't remember who he was playing for. Maybe it was Greece, because he likes to go for that diplomatic victory. He likes to go for that. And I was playing as Japan, so of course I was going for the domination victory. And I had this massive army just surrounding his capital. It was all but over. Next thing I know, off go the alarms, and here come the nukes.
Little scorched earth tactics there.
Yeah. Nuke my freaking cities, you.
If we're going down, we're taking you with us.
Yeah. Usually we played on the same team, but every once in a while we'd play against each other. But yeah. I do. Yeah. Civ 5 is what I've played them all, though. I've played from Civ 1 all the way up to 6. I had Civ 1, which came on a single floppy disk, by the way.
Yep. I remember Civ 1. I remember installing it.
Civ 3 has a special place in my heart, because who doesn't live action advisors? And Civ 3 had live action video for their advisors, and the entertainment advisor was a Elvis impersonator. Yeah. And there's just something hilarious when you're in ancient times. There's just something hilarious about an Elvis impersonator in a toga. Yeah. Jake says, I had little to no army, was going to be overran. A few turns away from a devoted victory. I did what I had to do. Yeah, and he ended up winning that game with the diplomatic victory, too. And I had him. Snake in the grass, I'm telling
you. Sometimes you just got to put your old man in his place.
Yeah, but we do both share our mutual hate for the leader that we call Ramadanga Ding Dong. He's got this great big long name, and it's not Indonesia, but what is it? Siam.
Siam, yeah.
Oh, I hate that guy. He's such a pain in the butt. I
always hated the French.
Yeah, they're not too bad to play as, though. I've played as the French. They're not too bad.
Yeah. No, they're not a bad faction to play. It's just their air of superiority and condescension. I'm just like, oh, I want to hurt you.
Yeah, I have my favorites, of course, and depending on what victory I want to go for, because certain civilizations are better for different, endings.
Yeah,
of course, you could use any civilization and go for any of the victory scenarios you want to, but some of them is going to be better than others. I have my favorites. Like if I'm going for a domination victory, I tend to favor Germany. And yes, I know the Huns and the Mongols are really good early game and all that, but Germany just their little thing goes through the whole game because they can convert the barbarians into their army.
Yep.
And they just always got a massive army. If you're going for diplomatic, Greece is a very good one. I tend to have a real soft spot and a preference for the Shoshone because of how fast that their city borders grow. And it keeps people from moving in on top of you, like they like to do.
Yeah, and you can claim a lot more territory quicker, which can sometimes be very beneficial.
Yeah, and of course, their special unit is their scout, and that carries through the whole game. Some of the civilizations are fine. It's just that their special unit is like only good early game or something like that, you know?
Yeah, very, very specialized.
And, but yeah, I love the Civ games. Love them. Still ain't figured out Civ 6 to my fullest yet. My favorite's still 5, but
yeah, I haven't played 6 yet. I stopped at 5. I just haven't had time or, money
it's a much different game than 5. If you played 5 and expect it to be the same, it's not. In fact, most everybody like me that has played all the Civ games, they're all similar, with changes down the road and upgrades and making it better, down the road. But there's always been this similarity between how they worked. Civ 6 is just totally different. Totally different. It kind of catches you by surprise. But yeah, Jake, the 6 is great once you get used to it. Yeah, it takes some getting used to. And you're like, well, this is not what I'm used to.
Excuse me.
But yeah, I do love Civ, and I hope I'm not boring you guys with my talk of civilization. But it's one of my favorite franchises. Love it. I introduced it to Alex. Bear, irate Alex. He'd never played it, and got him to play Civ 5. He played it through once as England, and then quit. Wouldn't play anymore. Liked it, but he says that's all I want to play is England. That's it.
Sounds like the English to me.
It's like, dude, you're missing so much.
Yeah,
they all play so very differently.
Yeah, you have to tailor your entire gameplay style. Well, you don't have to, but it helps. Like you were saying, certain civilizations are better at certain things. So you play a different civilization to try a different way to win. That's what I liked about that game, is the open-endedness at which you can obtain victory.
Right. And if you're getting toward the end, then realize that your first thought on how you're going to go for victory isn't going to pan out. You still got time to switch, and maybe go for the other. Of course, you don't want to wait till late game to do a domination. That one you want to start as early as possible. But
yeah. If you can do that Zerg technique of just trying to take over as many primitive sort of civilizations early on, get that domination rolling at the outset.
Get as many as you can before gunpowder. Before gunpowder's invented, and you're good. But
the great equalizer of guns.
But yeah, I do, and of course I enjoy playing as the Americans. Yes, what is it? The Aztecs actually have an ancient unit that, if you don't upgrade it, is still very, very viable in modern times. That's one of them that carries across. Just don't upgrade it, and just keep it. It is still very useful even in modern times.
Yeah, I remember them. I don't remember the name of the troop though.
The Jaguar
soldiers.
Yeah. Bandsman in 5, they don't have Australia as a country. In some of the special scenarios, it's in there, I believe, and they do have Australian cities as a city-state, which are not like, if you've played 5, you know what I'm talking about. But the city-state's not a regular civilization. They're like a minor civilization that you make deals with and trade with and so forth. But they're not one of the major ones that you've got to beat to win the game.
Plus, Australia would just lose if you had emu units.
Yeah.
Those emus are the Australians' kryptonite.
Jake says Australia is super strong in 6, though. Yeah, I haven't got that far. But I'm going to have to re-download 6 on this one and give it a try. I'm sure it could probably run much better.
Oh, almost guaranteed, yeah.
The only I love the Civilization franchise. It's one of the few franchises that I think that each individual one didn't mess it up. Each one got better, you know, but their only misstep, and I think J Kid will agree with me on this because we've played it, was Civilization Beyond Earth. That was the
space one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was disappointing. That's all I'll say. It was disappointing. But that was their only misstep that I've seen personally. There may be others. I just haven't seen them personally. But yeah, one of my favorite franchises. I can just zone out and play Civilization for hours upon hours.
Yeah. And next thing you know, it's been 6 hours. You're like, I just started.
Yeah. Well, I always set my games to marathon, to the longest, because I just like a long game. And,
plus, you can always come back, you know, in a day, in a week, and pick it up and keep going. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've went months and came back to the same game and picked it right up. You know, as long as there was a save there. Now, none of my save games were carried over, obviously, on this one because it's fresh install. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, been doing that. Trying to survive the cold weather, although it's not been terribly cold. It's cold enough. And
avoiding that woo flu.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised I haven't been sick. Because I'm a cashier, right? So I'm in contact with a lot of money and I'm handling their money. So all their germs are getting passed to me on their money. Now, yesterday I had a guy come in and he bought some cigarettes and he was just obviously suffering bad with the flu. Snot running everywhere. His eyes are all swollen and watery. He's all stuffed up. As soon as he walked out, I ran over. We got a big bottle of hand sanitizer. I ran over there and smothered my hands in it.
I just picture Papa running over, just dumping the bottle over his head. Clean, must get clean.
I mean, he was so sick, he even apologized as he left.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'll get out of here. You don't need to get sick. But he had to have his cigarettes, you know.
Yeah. It's hard when you're sick as a smoker to smoke, but you still kind of need it every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I'm surprised I haven't got sick yet because I can't remember the last winter that I haven't got sick at least once. But I don't have grandkids living with me now too, so that helps because you know kids are little petri dishes.
Yeah,
love them to death, but they carry every bug known to man.
And that's the scariest thing about these things because it's a microorganism. You can't see it. You can't really defend against it other than, you know, just doing hygiene things to try to avoid it. But yeah. Oh, that's the worst, Kyler, when you're sick and you live alone. Oh. Yep. Luckily, Elwyn takes very good care of me if and when I'm sick, but I don't get that. I don't get sick very often, which is nice.
Yeah, I can't say the same. Although I haven't been sick for quite a while. I've had quite a run here where I haven't been sick, but I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, that's good because it's just misery.
Because at my age and with the issues that I have physically, when I do get sick, I get sick. I get it. It hits me hard.
You get that serious man flu going.
Oh, Lord.
And not even Mrs. Bloodwing wants anything to do with you. Just stay away.
She doesn't anyway. I take care of myself pretty much as long as I'm able to get up.
Yeah, Ellen would dote on me and I'd be like, no, stay away. I don't want you to get sick.
But, and speaking of which, that reminded me, I haven't taken my meds today yet. So hold on a second here.
All righty.
I'm only 4 hours late.
Let's see. Vodka. You know, Robert, even though I'm part Russian, I cannot handle vodka. I would take maybe some whiskey or some scotch.
Yeah, vodka's not my favorite hard liquor. I can drink it, but it's not my favorite for sure.
Oh, it floors me. Even as a young man, I was just like, I can't handle vodka. Drink tequila with the rest of them, with the best of them.
Of course, I haven't drank hard liquor in I don't know how long, a long time. I haven't drank alcohol, period, in quite a while.
Yeah. I don't drink anymore. The occasional beer if I'm meeting up with friends, or the occasional shot just every now and then.
I've mentioned it before, and the reason is it's not because I've turned against alcohol. It's just not worth it for me, because it is an absolute scientific fact. The older you get, the more susceptible to hangover you get.
Mm-hmm.
Your body just doesn't, get rid of the alcohol as easily as it did when you were younger. And I can drink a beer, and I love beer. I love the taste of beer. I'm one of them people. I love beer. I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm already getting a headache before I'm even through with the first beer. So it's just not worth it.
Thinking about drinking beer.
Yeah. So it's just not worth it to me. So yeah, I don't drink very often. If I do drink, it tends to be wine. And that's because wine generally won't give me a hangover. Generally. Depending on how much I drink.
Red wine?
Yeah.
And it's got some good properties for the heart and antioxidants. So,
but I haven't even drank that in a while. Crown Royal and Diet Root Beer. Greater and Diet better than beer. Okay, I misread that.
I do like me some Crown Royal. That's something I can be proud of as a snow Mexican of one of our world-renowned exports, is that we make a good whiskey.
Yeah. If I were to drink hard liquor, my favorite is probably rum. Never been a whiskey guy.
Rum drinker.
And I drank a ton of whiskey. Don't get me wrong. I just never liked it. Only drank it for the buzz when I was younger. Of course, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, Jack was the thing. That's what everybody drank, Drink.
Yeah.
But I never did really like it. Now rum, on the other hand, I do like the taste of rum. So
a medium rum, dark rum.
Yeah, I do like. Yeah. Although I've drank
a lot of flavor packed in there.
I've drank my fair share of Bacardi 151. So back in the day.
Oh, the memories of 151.
Oh, I mean, that stuff literally will burn.
Oh, it'll strip the paint right off your walls.
Oh yeah.
Imagine what it's doing to your esophagus.
Yeah.
Jack and Dr. Pepper. Jack and Dr. Pepper is really good. I really like Dr. Pepper as a mix.
Isn't that what Scribe drinks?
I think so, yeah.
There's something similar to that. Yeah.
I know he loves his Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
So do I. It's an acquired taste, but I love the taste of Dr. Pepper. Just funny that he calls it Dr. Pecker.
And that's my boy.
Yep. Pepper Jacks. That's it, Shio. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I haven't drank. Oh, geez. I can't even remember the last time I drank any alcohol. Probably a year ago or more.
You're right, Dectran. That maple mead. Oh, my God. I don't know. Most people have had like honey mead, and it's very sort of sweet and sort of invigorating. That maple mead just makes you feel all warm and fluffy and so thick and rich.
Robert Lang asks, how about a nice wine like Mad Dog 2020? Now, I'm not a wine snob. When I drink it, I drink the cheap box stuff. I'm not opposed to it. I like it. Okay? I'm not a wine snob. But MD 2020, I'm not sure you'd call that wine.
It's definitely based on fermented grapes, but that's about as close to wine as it gets.
Yep. That's it's the only wine I've ever drank that burns all the way down. And yeah, push the button. I've drank my fair share of White Lightning. I mean, the real stuff that comes in jars and is not sold at the liquor store.
Yeah, even today, those kinds of moonshine-esque alcohols are making huge
Oh yeah,
in the markets. People are clamoring for that stuff. I had plum moonshine not too long ago. Oh my god, that was rough, but it had this sweet, sweet fragrance. It was just wonderful.
yeah, yeah. But oh geez, I probably haven't drank moonshine since 79 or 80, somewhere in that area.
Mm. Well, we've got a lot of home brewers, I guess you could call it, home distillers up in my neck of the woods. So there's constantly people making their own beer, their own wine, their own spirits, and like anything, it's hit and miss. But every now and then, a friend of mine who does a lot of this stuff and is really educated on it, grows a lot of pot. So he gets really into it and wants to learn everything. He's made some really amazing batches of, like I said, this last plum moonshine that he made a couple years back was just, the fragrance alone was just so enticing. The actual drink itself was hard to stomach. He's like a Canadian redneck.
The worst sick I ever got off of alcohol I was probably 17, maybe 16. And I don't even know how we got a hold of it, because it's an odd thing to just get a hold of for teenagers. And it was blueberry brandy. And oh my gosh, I got so sick. And came home and was vomited, praying to the porcelain god. Woke my mom up, who, there was no lying to her at that point what was going on. And so here I am puking in the toilet, and with her telling me the whole time, this is what you get. It's what you get.
Sorry, I don't know if I muted my mic in time. I had a little bit of the tickles in the throat and was coughing pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Red Green, Canadian rednecks.
Oh, I loved Red Green Show. They used to show it on public on PBS, public broadcast. Here. The same station, they show Sesame Street and all those educational shows.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have a little sniffer of this. Have this bottle that's been lasting me 3 years now. It's the 16-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey.
Oh yeah,
it's got such a effervescence when you drink it. It's like it evaporates as soon as it hits your tongue. It's definitely an acquired taste, but oh my god.
Yeah, I would just, as I said before, I've just never been able to learn to like the taste of whiskey or a bourbon or any of that ilk. It just has a medicinal taste to me. All of it.
Yeah, not everything's for everyone. We all have our tastes.
Yeah, even Canadian Club, which is pretty mild comparatively taste-wise to other whiskey, in my opinion. But even it had its medicinal taste to it.
Cuervo, you got tricked into drinking Cuervo and told it was water. Oh my god, Pincalo. Ouch.
Yeah,
because if you're not like with some of these higher proof spirits, if you're not expecting that burn, oh my god, it can be brutal. Like I said, I was having a little bit of the tickles of the throat. That's why I poured myself a little taste.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been trying to avoid getting sick. There's been little times where I was like, okay, am I getting sick? Because I've had the sneezes a couple of times in the last few days. And I'm like, oh no, please. But didn't turn into anything other than just sneezing for 10 minutes.
Hey, Cryptic. Yeah. Everybody always says we sound the same. It's funny.
You can pronounce your R's or your L's. Love you, Cryptic. Uh,
No,
mixed
Deck
coat.
Trans, stop advocating for scissorup.
Ooh. Wow.
Oh my god. I don't know why anybody would do that to themselves.
Oof.
I mean, I guess, when you want to get messed up.
I guess so. Picasso says, like I said, I think I was 9 or 10 when that happened, and it was an adult either with the other kids that we were watching UFC with. Well, shame on him for tricking a little kid. Cryptic says, and screw you, old man. That's my boy.
That's the Cryptic we all know and love.
Yeah.
Lean? Yeah, okay, lean, scissorup, whatever. Same shit, different pile.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Sounds nasty to me. Sounds nasty to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like taking codeine as codeine by itself. Like, I wouldn't want to put that in my drink.
No.
But I watched a documentary on it, and it's becoming, or it has become the big thing in certain circles to be drinking. And it's like, dude, do you know what you're doing to your liver right now? With the amount of drugs they put into their alcohol? Oh my god.
Yeah. Banzma, if you're talking about who J-Kid was talking about, no, I'm afraid not. He's no longer with us.
Who, J-Kid?
No.
Oh.
He was talking about, he was calling him his brother.
Oh.
He's talking about my youngest daughter's husband who has passed away. So
right.
If we got him in here, I'd be kind of worried. A little bit worried.
Have a little bit of a ghastly situation going on.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you know how it goes on this stream. There will come a point where the old man has to go to the bathroom. And we've reached that point, Functional.
Uh-oh. We haven't even made it past the first hour.
No, but we're close. I was trying to make it to an hour, but I've got to the point now where no, I'm not going to do it.
Not happening.
Not happening. So if you would talk to the chat, try your best to keep the stream going until I get back. I shall return as quick as possible.
I will hold down the fort.
Okie doke.
So how is everybody doing? Hope you're staying warm if you're in a colder climate. I know here it hasn't been as cold as it could be, which is nice. I'm not going to vape any alcoholic beverages, thank you. Yeah, Robert, codeine for me, even ibuprofen, any of these pharmaceutical painkillers, even the over-the-counter ones, hit me really, really hard and don't really mesh well with my system. So I just, and yeah, if anybody had the 51-minute mark, now's the time to collect. Oh, fat bastard! I want my baby back ribs. Noof, you at work, or are you going to be starting work today, or just chilling for right now? And you're right, Jen, that does sound like it would burn just so much, especially when it's coming out. Sorry, I had to take a little snip of my whiskey. Get in my belly. It's like a wee little baby. Get in my belly, baby. Oh man, I am so jealous of people who live in places like Arizona and Texas, because you guys have nice warm weather all year round. Although the Canadian blood inside me does clamor for the nice snowfalls, living off the land in the backwoods of Canada. outside of cities. It was gorgeous time of year to be alive and to just see it all. When you live in the cities, the snow and the muck, it's not pleasant at all. Necro, nice to see you, my dude. Oh yeah, it always does that to me too, J-Kid. Even sometimes midstream, it'll go from live chat back to top chat. I'm just like, ugh.
Talking about top chat.
Yeah,
It needs to default to live chat.
I mean, it really does. Or have an option to which one do you want to default to as the user.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cynical Lindsay. It gets really, really hot those times of year, I bet. But you know what? You get used to it.
If if you're offended and don't want to be, see everything that's in live chat, then sure, have the option to go to top chat. But it needs to default to that instead of having to remember to change it every time you log into a live stream.
Yeah. Every time I bring up a live stream, I try to remember, okay, gotta put it on live chat because top chat's just going to censor a bunch of stuff that.
Yeah. And even if it's your own live stream, you have to change it to live chat, which is ridiculous because how are you going to moderate that if you're worried about such things?
Yeah.
I don't worry about you guys. Don't have to moderate you guys.
But, yeah, because we're a good crowd.
Yeah.
I do like how StreamYards, even though it's a few seconds behind, gives you live chat.
Yes.
Right there on the interface, which is nice.
Yeah, I do too. Grabbed a cup of coffee while I was up.
Of course. Lifeblood.
Exactly. But 105. I could use some of that heat. Robert Lang says 105 Fahrenheit. In fact, I'd settle for 50 because it's down around freezing, and it's just a really dismal, dank, cold day. I can't get warm today. I've got this big blue comforter over me in my easy chair, and I just can't get warm. I'm like, dadgum. Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. Topless chat. I got my shirt off. Send me dollars.
Woo!
Nobody wants to see it, Cryptic. Put the shirt back on.
I want to see those nips.
Mom says my kids call my coffee cup my life force reciprocal. Yeah, she likes coffee about as much as I do, although she does not drink coffee like I do. She doctors it all up with, creamers.
Gets it all gussied up with, yeah.
And I just drink the straight black, no sugar. Just pour it straight out of the pot. I'm good.
Yeah, I'll take that in a pinch. When I'm at home, I like putting like a half a teaspoon of brown sugar just to give it a little. But yeah, black coffee, by far the best.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to drink the coffee. You want to taste the coffee. You don't want to be thinking you're drinking a milkshake.
I mean, it's an acquired taste. Absolutely. I will agree with you. It's an acquired taste. I did not like the taste of coffee when I first drank it.
Mm-hmm.
But, then I got used to it, and then I started really liking it, over time. And I've tried it the different ways. Actually, I think sugar makes it taste worse, in my opinion. But
I'm just not a fan of white sugar in general.
Yeah. But I like black coffee.
Yeah, I in my household growing up, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my dad, huge coffee drinkers. My older sisters, both, they all loved their coffee. I would wake up and the smell, I'd just be like, oh my God, that smell. But as soon as I hit college, I developed a taste for coffee. And ever since then, I've just loved it. Like you said, it's an acquired taste. Once you get that or don't get that acquired taste. It's very flavorful. And then if you experience other different types of beans and the different roasting processes, there's a wide variety of flavors. Now, I'm not talking, all the gussied up flavored coffees. I'm just talking simple brewed beans, but different locations, different growing styles.
I'll tell you one that I'm not a fan of. I had it once, and maybe it was because I had it at Starbucks. The one time I drank coffee at Starbucks, which I'm not a fan.
No, not a fan.
Not at all. But it was like some African bean, and it was just awful. It was terrible. I was like, oh, this is not coffee. This is sewer water.
I want to get my hands on some of that Black Rifle coffee that has been making its rounds and become very popular in the U.S.
I've been wanting to try that because I've seen those guys that make that. First of all, their commercials are just off the charts. They're hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're advertising amazing.
But they actually have a YouTube channel, and they make I seen one video where it says, what would happen if, real military guys were in horror movies?
Yeah.
And it's just hilarious. They're really funny. And yes, Black Rifle is military, aren't they? So I've been wanting to try it, and I'm going to try it one of these times. I've heard good stuff about it.
Yeah,
I've heard that it's really, really, really good.
I do like the Vietnamese coffee. I do have a French press, so I do like my other varieties of coffee. But again, Bloodwing, it's just, black. I want to taste the coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. And, by and large, when it comes down to it, I'm not very fancy. I prefer just a good old medium to dark roast Colombian coffee. The good old standby.
My standby is Arabica. Yeah. It's probably mostly what I grew up with and what I became accustomed to most, but that's probably my go-to. If I have to get takeout, it's usually McCafe.
Oh, here in the States, I don't know how it is there in Canada, but here in the States, the best coffee is gas station coffee. I mean, other than what you make at home. The best takeout coffee is gas station coffee. You say what you want about those quick marts at the gas station, but man, they make good coffee.
Sorry, Blood. I got to dip for just one quick second. The wife is about to leave. I got to just deal with that. I'll be right back in about 1 minute.
Jens was going to default to the best coffee. Colombian is the best. I prefer it. I've tried others. Arabica's not bad, but I like my Colombian coffee. Jake, I want the coffee to come to me when I call, so I don't have to get up to get it. Well, you get that for me, son. Yeah, I do too. I want to be able to whistle for it, and it'll jump right in my cup.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Necrosol, because it was probably about 12 or 13 years ago now that Tim Hortons had a very good recipe, good supplier for their beans, and that's what made them the powerhouse that they are in Canada these days. However, about 12, 13 years ago, they lost the contract with their supplier.
Yeah.
And who picked it up was McDonald's. I don't know if it was all over North America. I know in Canada they picked up the contract of exclusivity with that supplier, and that's why I like the McCafe up here, is because if I have to get takeaway, is because it's got that. It's just a nice, rich, bold flavor, Blood.
Yeah, McDonald's coffee is not bad. It's not bad. But here, the best is still always going to be gas station coffee because you can count on it being fresh because it's always being remade.
They're always, putting fresh pots on.
So if you want fresh coffee for your takeout, go to a gas station. Guaranteed.
Especially if you're driving along the highway, because the truckers.
Oh wow!
If you see a lot of rigs in a place where they have the gas station coffee, the coffee's good. The food's good. The coffee's good. Just look to your truckers, America.
Exactly.
They know what's up.
Exactly. And a lot of the gas stations now, most of them, even if you're one of those, what I call foo-foo coffee drinkers, that put all the pumpkin spice crap, yada,
hazelnut and chocolate. No, thanks.
That's all there. You can put that in your coffee too. They've got it all there. So Yeah. Of course, the best coffee is the one I make myself, because that I can make that to my preference. The worst coffee, I think that Starbucks, from my experience, is the worst coffee in the world. I hate Starbucks. Hate it. It's disgusting. It's no wonder that everybody that orders from there has got to doctor it all up with all these flavorings and creams and sugars and stuff, because it's terrible.
Yeah.
Eh,
But some people, obviously it's their perk, it's their pick me up, and they don't like the taste of coffee, so they need to gussy it up a little bit. You know what, Pincalo? I think I have heard Williams. I think there's a couple places here in Toronto that have Williams. I don't think I've tried them though. I've seen it. Unfortunately, every street corner, just like in America, has 20 Starbuckses on it, and I hate their coffees. Ugh.
Now, if you're talking the worst coffee I ever drank in my life, well, that's jail coffee. But
Never had jail coffee. I have had doctor's office coffee or hospital coffee, and that was
it's sewer water. When I was 18,
watery.
I've told the story on here before, but a lot of you may not have heard it. I don't know. But when I was 18, I got blasted out of my mind and wrecked my car, and they picked me up walking. And tell you how out of it I was. I thought I was walking home, and I was walking the opposite direction out of the county. And I'm covered in mud because I wrecked my car in the middle of a field, buried it up to past the body in mud, and lost my keys. Got out, dropped my keys, and couldn't find them in the mud. And what was unfortunate reason I got picked up was because a sheriff had been murdered, gangland style, shot him in the back of the head. And they were making a sweep of my side of town, and I got picked up.
Oh, geez.
And while I was there, I had what they called breakfast in jail. And breakfast was a stale powdered donut and what they called coffee, but it was really dipped out of the toilet, I think. And but while I was drinking my coffee, I'm looking around at all these faces. We're in this single room, that they did bring us out of our cell to do that. I was in the drunk tank, and they brought us out of that. And everybody looks like they're just feeling terrible, and probably are.
Yeah, because you're just sobering up, and some are getting hungover or
Right.
from whatever else they might have been taking.
And you're now in jail, so that you're not exactly happy, and
realization of, oh, I done fucked up.
So I'm looking around at all these faces, and I look at one guy at the same time he looks at me, and we both holler each other's names out, like, "Hey, how you doing?" It was a guy I went to school with. I hadn't seen him since graduation, So we have us a
mini reunion in jail
right there, yeah. But that has to be the worst coffee I've ever had in my life. What they called coffee. Thank goodness they only gave you one small styrofoam cup of it. Yeah, that's about all you can take. I drank it. Don't get me wrong. I drank it, but it was terrible. Shawshank Reunion, yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, and the county jail where they took me has two big drunk tanks, and they're just like right across the hallway from each other. Mm-hmm. And it's just all surrounded by bars on three sides, and then the outside wall on one side. So there's, it's just open, and each of them was standing room only because they made that sweep and they just picked up everybody on my side of town. And out of all those people, I was the very last one to leave. The last one to leave. They kept skipping over me because and I do not remember, but they say I tried to punch the cop that arrested
Oh.
me. I don't remember. And that was my defense, too, in front of the judge.
Yeah,
I don't remember. He asked me how I pled. They had me on charges for 35 Beverage Act, which is drinking underage, because the
right.
drinking age here is 21. I was 18. Public intoxication and disorderly conduct because I tried to hit the cop. He says, "How do you plead?" And I'm up there with my mom, by the way, the same mom that was giving me a sermon the whole time I was puking into the toilet when I was drunk. And if you know my mom, that means even more. But I'm up there with my mom, and she and the judge is like, "How do you plead?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "What do you mean I don't know?" I said, "Well, I don't know."
I
Well,
don't remember anything that happened.
well, the first charge is 35 beverage. Are you underage? Yeah. Okay. Well, were you drunk in public? Yeah. He goes, "Well, what about the disorderly conduct?" Now, see, there's the part I don't remember.
Yeah,
I
too far
don't.
gone at that point.
Well, to be honest, drinking wasn't the only thing I was doing that night.
Yeah.
It was actually a buddy of mine had got married. Buddy that lived a few houses down on the street and knew him most of my life, and got married. And it was at his reception that I got wasted. And I was playing bartender, so I had to taste everything that I mixed to make sure that it tasted all right. And was also taking quite a few controlled substances at the time. So yeah, I was gone.
Shio. I think it's because those of us who drink it black just want to get our coffee and get out. And those people who get that quad shot, non-fat vanilla soy, extra foam, light whip with caramel drizzle are taking up all of our time.
Yeah.
Just give me coffee.
Yeah. Get out of the way.
Oh man. But those stories make for good stories. But it's a good thing that you eventually got cleaner, because it's a shame when people fall into that black hole of addiction versus enjoying a vice.
Yeah. But they purposely skipped over me and left me last because it didn't take long for the news to get out that I'd tried to hit a cop.
Yeah.
And yeah. There I am, the only person left in both cells, wondering, when am I getting out? Everybody else is left. And this young girl, by young, I was only 18, but I'm guessing she couldn't have been more than mid-20s, maybe, late 20s. She was not a bail bondsman, but she was in charge of making sure that people got bond.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not really sure what her title was. And she just come walking through there and looked up and says, "What are you still doing there?" I said, "Well, nobody's come to get me yet. And here I am." She says, "Well, I'll see about that." So she went and gave him an earful, I guess, about that I have rights. And it wasn't too long before they let me out. But
yeah, J Kid, your sister is a saint. You, on the other hand,
well, that would eventually lead to the birth of a saint, right?
yeah, Shio, that mugshot of Ed Belfour is he's just all smiles. He's like leaning over and just smiling really happily into the camera. Oh boy.
Yeah. I've told a lot of the stories, and a lot of you are familiar with the stories, but I was not a real well-behaved teenager at all. And any way you look at it. I actually did have that moment with my parents when I said, "Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know how you tolerated it."
Saint Lucifer.
Well, Lucifer was an angel, so an archangel at that. But uh, if I ever chances, if I ever win money, Jake, I'm getting you and your dad Kona. He and I still got to play Ark. He got Ark and has never played it, and I told him we can play anytime. And now that I have a much better machine, I can probably host it. Yeah.
I had mentioned to Cryptic the other day that, yeah, with your new rig, we should get up another trying of Ark, because I'd like to see how well it. The
only thing
I don't want to hold your hand. I basically just don't want to hold your hand rescuing your dinos anymore. You know?
Every time I'd get booted,
yeah, your computer would either crash the game or get booted for whatever reason, and
yeah, that happened a time or two, didn't it? Lost that wonderful bird. I'd like that bird, but that was because I got too cocky. I was trying to get a dragon or wyvern.
Yeah, that's the thing about that game, though. Sometimes you got to take that risk, and sometimes it can pay off really well, and other times you can maybe lose everything.
Yeah, I was fine until a frost dragon and a poison dragon hit me at the same time. Well, I say dragon, but it's wyvern.
Wyvern, yeah.
So the frost slows you considerably, and the poison is a DOT.
And it just wrecks your health.
And it didn't take long after that, before I was
fall out of the air like a sack of bricks.
Or Firebird.
Rest in peace, Firebird.
You will be missed. But Ark, the only thing is that that's such a it's a time commitment.
Yeah,
it's such a commitment when you have a persistent server like that. Because if you're not able to make it, somebody's got to go in and feed your animals and yada yada yada.
Yeah, because it's all real time degradation. If you're not constantly logging in to maintain that upkeep, you're going to lose some stuff for sure. Recently, I've started playing some 7 Days to Die with some of the minions folk, like Data Wasteland, Useless Rebel, Snub Earth, all them.
I've only played a little bit of single player.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've got my new computer, enough to know that I can run it very well on medium settings, which, no, that's not the best settings, but if you knew what kind of difference that was from where I was playing it before, it's a world of difference.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I had to play it just to even be able to play, just barely. On my laptop, I had to play it at such low settings that you couldn't even read the signs to the buildings. It was all pixelated.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. But now I can play it on medium settings and actually move with no lag so far.
That's good, because when I first started playing that game, I mostly played it single player, wasn't too keen on it. But ever since I played with Satsu and Monkey and now the Minions guys, it's so much. And with all the updates, it's a completely different beast when you're playing with a group of people.
Well, this newest iteration of it, I think, is geared more towards forcing you to be in a group than play single player.
Yeah, because you as an individual have to specialize in one thing. The next person has to specialize in something else, et cetera, et cetera. It's good to build that sort of team dynamic.
Yeah, which is worlds different. Gone are the days of being able to build an underground base and be safe. If you were single player or whatever.
Yeah, they'll just rip through it.
They will dig down to you. And I think that they've widened the heat signature. Like if you've got a forge going or a cooking fire, whatever, I think they've made the heat signature for those things much bigger than they used to be.
Yeah.
And they'll just come from everywhere and start pounding on your walls,
My problem is I'm out on my bicycle and I get attacked by birds all the time. Those damn vultures. They hear the squeaking of my tires and I'm just like, get away from me.
I hate those vultures because if you don't spot them before they hit you, there's no warning. It's just bam, they hit you.
And next thing you know, there's 4 or 5 of them on top of you.
And for being so slow moving, and they are relatively slow moving, they are so hard to hit for some reason. It's like, dadgummit.
In the most recent update, they've become a little bit more fluid. They're a little bit easier to hit, but yeah, I know what you mean. They're kind of they're not fluid in their movements, so it adds to that inability to hit them really cleanly. I was impressing the boys the other night by just sniping them out of the air from like 200 yards away. But that's
Yeah.
how I built my character. I'm the fighter of the group.
Well, I haven't made it that far yet. I've only made it to the first night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just playing on Nazgane, just because I just wanted to test it to see how it was going to run.
Yeah.
Nazgane, and I just played until the first night, and I found a barn that I cleared out, and I'm hunkered down. When I saved it and logged out, I was hunkered down in this dark barn, waiting for daylight. And it's right across the street from the giant pig. Oh, what is its name? If you're playing on Navisgane, you could see a sign for it. It's like it was a tourist attraction.
Right.
But it's this giant pig that's now irradiated. So it's a giant irradiated pig. I can't remember the name.
And I've yet to experience a Horde Night. I mean, I've seen them plenty of times on Satsu streams, and I'm really looking forward to our Horde Night, but I've never actually played during it.
Oh, they're fun. As long as you don't get too much lag.
Yeah. That's one thing that the earlier iterations of the game seem to have a really hard time dealing with. Even if you had a really good PC like Sinatra does, it was kind of really choppy.
Yeah. And I can't remember the name of the pig, though. I know the Neebs Gaming guy's done an episode that featured the pig. Ruby, maybe? Something like that. But I'm literally right across the street from it in a barn. And that barn is wood. It's not going to be much protection if they hear me.
Yeah.
So I remember feeling like I'm sitting there crouched down, like, shh, don't move.
I love the atmosphere that game gives you as a player. Like you're saying, you're hunkered down, you're hoping you don't die.
Yeah, because this is my very first day. I've got nothing. I've got a club. I've got a wooden club and a stone hammer, and a wooden bow and arrow, a cheap wooden. That's all I got. Because
probably still running around in your skivvies.
No, I did make some pants and shirt, but I don't have any shoes. No shoes. I'm barefoot. But yeah, so I don't have a lot to handle. Now, I will say this, that much less lag on this one, more fluid. I was able to kill things melee, which always drove me nuts because the lag I would get, melee was very tough, very hard.
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't tried it multiplayer with anybody else. That's where my lag would be the worst. And multiplayer would be where I would get the zombies that could hit me from across the street. Because the game's recognizing them as being right in front of me, but I'm seeing them across the street.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the tell right there. That's going to tell the tell when I finally do get into a game with other people and see how it goes. But right now, though, I've just been playing The Sims 3 again and enjoying it.
Hopefully you're not impregnating the entire town like certain other people.
No. Who is Monkey?
Oh God. He got like every woman in the town pregnant, and I'm just like sitting there, just double face palming, going, "Oh my God, this is
no."
Too much.
The character right now, his lifetime wish is to surround himself with kids, so he's like a one person kind of guy. And
Immaculate Conception, or
no. In fact, he just got married.
Oh, nice.
But I have not all of them, but most of the DLCs. So I've got University Life, so you can go off to college and all that kind of garbage, and pets. He's got a dog. which the dog is funny. This dog is hilarious. But yeah, I enjoy The Sims. Love The Sims. And I think The Sims 3 is the best out of the bunch. Played a little bit of Sims 4. Hated it. I'm sorry if you're a Sims 4 fan, but I hated it. Did not like it. They took away some of the stuff that made Sims 3 work.
Mm-hmm.
Like just across the street in Sims 4, you've got the zone. That's ridiculous. You know? Or when you start the game out, you can't buy a dishwasher. What's up with that? Because that's usually the first thing I went for to save time for my sim was to buy a cheap dishwasher. That way you don't have to spend time standing at the sink washing them.
Yeah. Real life.
Like, what's up with that? I didn't like 4 at all. There's a lot of other reasons too why I didn't like 4, but no. I thought 4 went too far the other direction. I think it was worse.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The last one I played, I think, was 2. I just wasn't a big Sims fan. I do like other Sim games. Like one of my favorites was Sim Tower, back from I think the late 90s, and like Sim City and all those.
Well, I've been a huge fan since the first Sims, and I had it and had I still do, and all the DLCs have it on disc. But I got hooked when I realized that I could, go into the options, remove their free will, so they won't do anything on their own.
Yeah,
and would just delight in over and over making them go to the bathroom on themselves. Not let them go to the bathroom. And then when they go and there's just this big puddle that goes below them, and they cry and boohoo, and that's how I get my kicks. I'm mean like that.
It's okay, Blood. They don't have souls.
Yeah, I just find it hilarious, But yeah, I've just been a huge fan of it since the first one that came out. Gosh, quite a few years ago now. But I'm a huge fan. I like God games like that, and I guess you could call The Sims a God game, sort of.
Yeah.
But like Black and White.
I was just about to say Black and White was fantastic. And the second one, they streamlined it and made it oh my God. That was so much fun.
The bad thing about Black and White is you can get it for today for your modern computer. There are some sites that still offer it, but good luck getting it to work with Windows 10.
Yeah, there's a lot of modifications you have to do to be able to run it, and I don't think it's worth it. I'd love it if they came out with like a Black and White 3 for modern computing. I'm pretty sure Lionhead Studios is still around.
No, they're not.
They're not?
Nope.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They were British, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lionhead had a lot of good games. Lions had made the game that I used to make some of my videos with. It was called The Movies.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But yeah.
And of course, Fable. Fable was an amazing series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your action RPG sort of progenitor. I think that they scheduled Fable 4 to be released in the third quarter of 2020.
Yeah.
Because who is it? I think it's Microsoft. No, not Microsoft. Somebody owns the rights to Fable these days.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Microsoft, but I could be mistaken.
Well, that's a shame because they'll probably ruin it.
They might. What was that other one that was just like it? It had the artwork of Todd McFarlane in it. Do you know what the game I'm talking about? I'm sure if I open up my Steam, it'll be there somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was also in that same sort of style as Fable. The sort of action combat, really rich story, really engaging characters. You had a lot of control to be able to build relationships or degrade relationships with people.
Right. Aaron Meredith says, I miss the old Command and Conquer. I've got several of those on DVD as well.
Oh, yeah, so do I. Oh, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. That was it. I don't know if you had a chance to play that one. That was, oh my God, the art style was incredible.
Fable really wasn't so much a God game, though, Devil Fruit Zero. It was more an RPG, just in a different style.
More of an individual style of control rather than
because you controlled one character, even though you had a party that would go with you. You controlled one character. Oh, okay. You were talking about Black and White. Yeah, that's a God game. Now, Black and White is a God game.
That caught some flack too in the day from your evangelicals and heavily religious people were like, this is sacrilegious. You can't play a God.
I'm a Christian. You all know that. I didn't have no problem playing it.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me. It's just a video game.
Exactly. It's just
those aren't real people that you're throwing in the sacrificial altar there.
My favorite was when you had to discipline the monsters and you actually had to slap them.
Oh yeah, you had to slap them around.
And they'd whine them.
Yeah, it'd cower if you slapped them too much. They'd get to cower, and what would crack me up is to praise them. You could rub them, pet them, rub their belly and stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you accidentally moved your mouse too far and it went too far down, he'd like slap your hand away, cross their legs, and say, "No, no.
Stranger danger."
Yeah. I mean, the graphics on that game by today's standards is pretty poor, but it was just the gameplay and the story and the hilariousness of your interaction with your creature and the two little, the little angel and the demon that are
you're
trying to those guys were just
it was so entertaining. So entertaining. Some of the lines that they would give you.
Yeah. And let J Kid. I let my kids play it. Absolutely, I let them play it. It was a great game. It's a great game. Let them play Black and White. But 2 was a good game. I preferred 1, I think, a little bit, but 2 did add some more. It took some of the rough edges off of 1. I'll give it that. But love God games. And to this day, Mama Minnie can still sing that whole song from 1 of that early mission that you get, the first place that you're at. Idly, idly, we're not going nowhere till we get some meat. Oh.
And I looked it up. Lionhead is owned by Microsoft, but I don't think they're doing anything with it, which is a shame because, big companies like EA buy up all these smaller developers that go belly up or sell them. And then they don't do anything with their IPs, with their properties, with their series that are, for the most part, well-loved by certain communities.
Yeah. Devil Fruit Zero and Byron King. No, I've never played either one of those. J Kid says I only recall 1 game he wouldn't let me play. Was that Phantasmagoria? And I wouldn't let you guys play that because you were watching me one time. Now, if you've never played Phantasmagoria, it's an old game by Sierra, and Sierra back then made the best games. They just make really good games.
King's Quest, Leisure Suit Larry. Oh,
but there was a scene that was a rape scene, and it was like it didn't show any genitals, but it was pretty obvious what was going on. And my kids were watching over my shoulder, and I'm hitting escape and everything, trying to skip it. It wouldn't let me skip it. And I ended up having to turn my monitor off.
I remember that now. That was one of the very, like in that first wave of full motion video, like the sort of captured. Yeah. I remember that.
And it was a guy gets possessed. The whole game surrounds this guy getting possessed by some evil spirit. And it was great. I loved the game. But there was a scene where he rapes his wife against her will up against the wall in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it won't let you skip it. And I've got I look up and I've got 3 little kids watching over my shoulders with wide eyes. Like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Get out of the room.
How can I turn this off? And I finally ended up just hitting the power button on the monitor. I didn't know what else to do because it wouldn't let me skip it. And, because generally I would let my kids watch me play games. They watched me play the original Resident Evil and play the Sims and just, Black and White and all the other games that I would play on the computer. I'd let them watch me play, and
because they may have had some intense moments, but nothing like Phantasmagoria like that.
Oh, no. Whew. Now, there was a game back in those days that used the live action stuff, and that was the thing then. In that part of the 90s, that was the fad, to make games with the live action kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of games came out with it at the same time. But there was a game called Harvester that was an underground independent, and man, it had the craziest reputation. It's just, all the snowflakes hated it, and it's just awful. And it was a crazy game. Crazy freaking game. If you've never played it, I'm sure somewhere offers it for download on the internet. And it's going to look pretty dated by today's standards, but it's the gameplay and the story that's nuts. Harvester was crazy. And a lot of blood and gore. And I mean real life looking blood and gore, like people losing their guts. They actually done special effects and recorded real people doing that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it wasn't pixelated, and it's, you wake up, in this town that's all 1950s. The TV sets, they're dressed all, everything's 1950s, the music. And you don't know how you got there. But it doesn't take long for you to realize that something's not quite right in this town, other than it being all 1950s. There's a lot of evidence that they're eating people, and then there's this, you run into this girl and she becomes your girlfriend, and there's this crazy perv of her dad who's watching you through the hole, and it's people getting, like there's this little kid that watches cowboy and Indian shows on the TV, and there's really people getting killed on the TV show.
Oh, wow.
And you go into the local diner, and up on the wall there's like animal heads, because it's out in the country and they've hunted, and one of them is an alien, like your typical gray alien with the big eyes. They've killed an alien and put it up there. There's this general that wants to nuke everything, and he has no lower half to his body. It got blew off in the war, so he just walks around on his hands. It's just crazy, and boy, it had the worst reputation.
I never played it. Oh my God.
Oh, Police Quest and SWAT. Oh, I love those games. Unfortunately, you have on a modern machine, you can play them, but you have to slow them down.
Yeah. You have to get some sort of emulation for it, because
it just runs too fast.
Yeah.
And you can't keep up. But yeah, I love those games too.
Hey, Six.
Hey, how you doing, Six? They got to play Stephanie with Stick. Those people scenes were wow. Yeah. Oh, you talking about Harvest? You played it too, Pat, so you know what I'm talking about. And it has a twist ending to it. You go through this whole, trying to figure out what the mystery and, and all these weird, because everybody there is just psychotic. They're just really weird,
Mm-hmm.
You get in this epic fight battle with the local Undertaker, and it's just really, really weird game. Really strange. Broke a lot of rules for the time. But yeah. Pretty tame by today's standards, but at the time, it broke a lot of rules, raised a lot of eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
But I could talk old games forever. Oh my gosh, and new games, but
yeah, back then it really, really was the Wild West of gaming.
yeah. Next saw, I never did play Manhunt. I never had the opportunity. I've heard all about it. I know about it, but I never got the opportunity
It was
to play.
brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah. I just never had the opportunity. Now, there was one game, and I believe I've still got the DVDs in the other room. And if I'm not wrong, it took like 6 or 7 CDs to play this game. But it was based on the Black Dahlia murders. So you play a detective, and that's not the only crime that you're trying to, solve, but it all surrounds the Black Dahlia murder.
Right.
And it's a different take on it. It has a supernatural bent to it, But it was another one of those live action. And it was funny because I used to get cracked up because if you spun the mouse, your character would turn around and around. And if you'd done that enough, he'd get dizzy and yell at you to stop it. But yeah, that was I cannot remember the name of it, but it was based on the Black Dahlia murders. It was very, very cool. I really enjoyed that game. Very cool. I cannot remember. Maybe it was called Black Dahlia. I don't remember. My memory. I'll have to go later today when my wife gets up because she's in there asleep. I'll have to go in the bedroom and see if I can find it. Look it up. Because I'm pretty sure I still got it. I don't have Harvester anymore because I loaned it to a friend of mine and never got it back. And that was years ago. But,
it's one of the benefits of having DRM.
Yeah. I'd still rather have
a hard copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like both. I'd like to have the hard copy and the DRM just in case you run into a situation where, I lent so-and-so some CDs or well, now I can't play it again. But, if you had the DRM, you can be like, oh, okay, well, I can still at least play it. I don't have the hard copy anymore. But
yeah. I mean, I'm getting used to DRM, because I spend a lot of time. I've been a gamer since they had silver balls and flippers. When
I was a young boy, I played the silver ball.
Yeah. Played a lot of pinball.
Yep.
And people forget, because they call us boomers. Oh, you boomers. And boomers got the reputation of being clueless when it comes to technology and everything. But you guys forget we were the first generation to play video games.
Yep.
The absolute. If you were a teenager in the 70s, you were the first to get to play video games. And yeah, there were games, but they were classic games like Pac-Man and Asteroids and
Space Invaders and Tron Cycle.
Yeah. We were on the ground floor, and I've been gaming ever since. So
yeah, I spent a lot of my preteen and teenage years in the local arcades playing things like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and pinball and
Pancalo, thank you for the donation. # no online gamers for life. Yeah, I played a lot of games, and I was there on the ground floor. Man, I too spent a lot of time in it was just called Black Dahlia, J Kid says. Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe it was. Couldn't remember, but it was a good game. I really liked it. And
of course, when you start, your pocket's so heavy because you got all these quarters in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then when you're leaving, you're like, oh, I feel so light.
And then a lot of them switched over to not using quarters. You had to buy tokens.
Yeah.
And use the tokens to play. But I spent a lot of time in the arcades, and that was a social thing. It was a hangout. You met people there. Shoot, I took dates to the arcade.
Oh, yeah.
As a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And my name used to be, especially on a game called Omega Race. My initials would be on the top player of every race machine within, probably a 5-mile radius of where I lived. And yeah, see, what's another good game we played back in the? Oh, what was the name of that game? Oh, they've just remade it in the last couple of years. Not remade it, but updated it to, more modern graphics and so forth. And it's what is the hero's called Manny Calaveras. J-Kid, help me out. Loved it.
Oh, it doesn't ring a bell.
And it was actually what's no, I played a lot of Frogger, but that's not it. The director that Grim Fandango. Thank you very much.
Right.
Absolutely great game. I've got to get a copy of that because I would so play it again. Loved that game. Loved it. And it was actually a game by that director, that famous director that done, good God, I hate old man memory. I hate it. Because
it's on the tip of my tongue.
It'll be right there in the front of your brain. But Steven Spielberg. There we go. Steven Spielberg. But yeah, Grim Fandango is a fantastic game. It just hilarious, humor-wise. And great gameplay, and just loved it. But they just recently, in the last few years,
2015, they redid it.
Yeah, gave it a facelift.
And J-Kid, you're totally right. Arcades nowadays are total garbage. They usually end up being little hipster joints, and oh my God, it's not the same at all.
Oh no,
I appreciate the thought behind it, but I don't know.
When I was a teenager, arcades was the place to be.
Yep,
and it was between the arcades and the head shops, which is where we would be found hanging out, one or the other.
Yeah, for us it was the coffee shops and the arcades. Yeah, for sure. Or the pizza joint right across the street from the arcade. Go grab a slice of pepperoni and then go play Street Fighter until like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then go home and get yelled at by your mom saying, "Where the hell have you been?"
Yeah,
back before we had cell phones,
Yeah, of course. Where I lived here, I mean, you could throw a rock in any direction and hit an arcade. Yeah, there'd even be decent small arcades in like the village pantries and stuff, the little, quick marts and stuff. And the best one in the area was actually at the airport. They didn't like you coming onto the airport property just to play their arcade. It would chase you out if they found out, but that was the best one. Yeah, that was the place to be, man. And it was very much a social event. You had to leave your house to go play games. And man, if I had all those quarters back I spent in those days, good grief. Spent a fortune in quarters.
You wouldn't have all these wonderful memories.
Yeah. Spent a excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. But in order to mute myself, I don't have a mute button on my microphone. So in order to mute myself, I'd have to make myself back to the StreamYard page and mute it. And usually the cough's out by the time I try to do that. So sorry. But it connects the RCA cables, and my kids currently play Frogger on that standalone. Frogger was a cool game and hard. Once you got through the first couple of levels, it got hard. It was no joke.
Back when games didn't have difficulty settings, it was just, this is the game.
And unforgiving if you wasn't lucky enough to get an extra life. Once you run out, you were done. You start at the beginning.
Yeah, no saves, no checkpoints.
Yes, sir. Them old games by today's standard, the graphics are pretty awful, But man, the gameplay of some of them, you can't, people say today, well, what is that? Dark Souls, it's got that reputation of being so hard and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
shoot, don't tell me about hard games. Want a hard game? Yeah. Go play Battletoads.
Battletoads, yeah. Those jet ski scenes.
Oh, go play Battletoads and come
Ooh.
back and tell me about a hard game.
Or even some of the like later stages of Pac-Man back in the day.
Yeah.
Like when you made it pretty far in some of these old arcade games, like it just became almost impossible. And then of course you die and you'd have to start all over. That's hard.
Yeah. Or even go back as far as asteroids. After so many levels, asteroids just, it's nuts.
And you're just surrounded. Yeah. How am I going to get the hell out of this? Oh my God. Whew.
Yeah. So, yeah, hard games, unforgiving games are nothing new, folks. They've been around since the beginning.
Yeah, I read that, Pincalo. There's a tsunami threat now. Damn. Yeah, there was a big earthquake in the ocean between Jamaica and somewhere else.
Your boy Pat says, I hated those jet skis. Oh, that was the worst. Awful scene.
You needed some severe reaction time for that.
And it wasn't just that one. There was a scene where you had to go down like this hole, and these plants would come out. You're going down on a rope, and you had to time it and bounce back and forth and kick them. That was pretty doggone tough too. That entire game, Battletoads, it was tough.
Yeah, and it wasn't only your reaction time, but you had to play it several hundred times to know what's coming. And to have that muscle memory down, or you had no chance.
But I loved it. I did love that game. It was tough, but I loved that game.
It's about when games started transitioning from just very simple interfaces to more intricate styles of playing, combat, and
I remember Dragon Slayer. They had one of them near here at an arcade.
That game was great because the story, the interaction.
Yep.
And every time you die, you turn into the skeleton.
Yep. Necroson, after you beat at the end, was thanks for playing. Try harder difficulty.
Yep. Just a big F you.
Yep. Yep. But now I can't do games like that anymore. I've never played Dark Souls because my reaction time, I'm old. I have no reaction time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a fact of life. The older you get, the less reaction time you have. I mean, that goes away. That's the reason people aren't fighter pilots for all their life. There's just a small window there where they're able to be good at it. So I know I have no reaction time, so I'm not even going to put myself through the frustration of trying a game like that.
Yeah. I never was a big Souls fan, even though I still do have a pretty good reaction time. I just didn't get into it as much as other people did. I do like other games that do have that sort of unforgiving kind of play style, but the Souls series just wasn't my bag.
I don't mind hard games. I really don't, because I'm stubborn and I will replay and replay a scene until I beat it. No matter how hard it is. There's certain side missions on Saints Row the Third right now that I'm struggling to get through because they're so daggone frustrating and hard. And if you've ever played it, you probably know which ones I'm talking about. The escort missions.
Oh yeah.
Where you got to avoid the paparazzi in the vans. Yeah, I don't mind hard, and I can get through it. But if a game requires you to be twitchy, I'm just not going to be able to do it, because I'm not twitchy anymore. I just don't have the reaction time.
Yeah, and it's a different way to play video games with that twitchy style of playing.
Yeah. And awareness. It's not awareness, it's eyesight, Jake. It's eyesight. I don't see so good anymore.
The old man's getting older, son.
Yeah, I know exactly what scenario he's talking about too. I've mentioned,
COD.
yeah, in Call of Duty, and we were just playing, just he and I on a map, and as I recall, it was some town in Brazil or something like that. Anyway, it was just me and him, and we decided to snipe. It was sniper on sniper, so we were gonna see what happened. And I seen him, but I couldn't get a shot on him. And then I didn't see him anymore for a long while. And then suddenly he starts laughing. And he's not here, he's elsewhere. So I got my headphones on and he's laughing in my headphones. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? And he's just laughing. And finally he get the words out. He goes, turn around. Well, I'm up on the roof laying on my belly. I'm prone on the roof. And I'm like, okay, why does he want me to turn around? I turned around and he's laying right there in my face. As soon as I got turned around, he shoots me in the face, of course.
Completely snuck up on you.
And he said he'd been there for a long time. Every time I would turn to try to see if I could spot him, he'd turn with me, right? So I wouldn't see him. Yeah. Had a lot of good times. A lot of good times. He's a lot better than me. I'd get frustrated and just start shanking everything. Just to heck with it. But anyway, we're at that time in the stream where we're getting at the end of it.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, chat, for coming out and supporting my stream with all the things that you do, with your comments, your chats, and for those that are and your shares and all that stuff, and for those of you able to go a step further and give a donation, sure appreciate you. Yes, it was our bonding, yeah. And so as I always say, and I'll say it again, this channel it's yours. I just run it. That's all. It's your channel. Thank you, Functional, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Yeah, good talking to you. Is anything you want to shout out?
You can check myself and Jen Maxey on the Snow Mexicans channel in about 35 minutes time.
There you go.
Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So if you haven't, sub to Jen. Again, Snow Mexicans. If she's still around, maybe she'll drop her link in the chat. As for me, we do the show on my channel, Functional, on Saturdays. I'm on that road to 100 people. So if anybody hasn't subbed to me, even if it's a pity sub, please help get me to 100 so I can get an actual name for my channel and not just, this is the channel of JT12535,
Begging for those pity subs.
I'm not above being proud.
There you go. Hey. As for me, as far as I know, unless they call me in, which you all have learned the hard way, that's apt to happen. But as far as I know, there should be a stream come Thursday. There will not Saturday. I know for a fact I do have to work Saturday and Sunday. So if there is an episode of Redneck Trek, and I say that because I'm planning on working on the best of, and if I work on the best of, that will probably take me a couple of weeks to finish because it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
But if I do that, it'll probably be a couple of weeks before. But if I do release an episode of Redneck Trek this week, it will be a half hour later at 6 p.m. because I don't get out until 5:20 from work on Sunday. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, we're at the end of it. So I'm so thankful for everybody's come out, and I'm glad that everybody did. And again, thank you, Shio Functional. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thank you to everybody that's out there. But until next time, get out of my yard.
Bye, guys.